Lorcana Locals!
Marvelous! Fight!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Lorcana Locals with your main man with a plan, Don TheXploder Coles. Hope everyone is well, and today we are joined back with the last game featuring James on the right and Michael returning on the left, playing Amethyst Steel. Oh, this is a very interesting start. Amethyst Steel versus Amethyst, aka Ruby Amethyst. So this will be quite an interesting tech here. Michael kicks us off with a Chernobog follower, James with a classic play of the Challenger Rafiki. Very, very nice. It's interesting to see a very similar colour scheme being played around this time round. Michael being very scary. I'm normally used to seeing Michael play around with items, so we're going to see if items do play a role here. Chernobog followers doing the quest for one, discard and draw a card tech, and the turn 2 Smee. Classic play. Still think that Smee is absolutely busted and a must have in pretty much every single Amber Steel or any deck that basically plays Steel. Give me a valuable reason as to why you are not running Smee outside of Brooms. The only deck where I could see an exception to not playing Smee is Brooms, simply because you need the space for Brooms. I get it. So with Rafiki, we have Quest for One with Rafiki, Bounce Back with Madam Mim Snake, classic play on James's side. Nice and easy, pretty chill this early on, but it's all in the Theorycraft stage at the moment. Interesting to see where it all goes. I'm pretty certain that I know James's deck pretty well by now, this being the third game of this series, but it's going to be interesting to see what Michael brings to the table, slapping down the new free cost Tinkerbell. I really like this one. It's a simple, I believe it's a 1-3 evasive Tinkerbell, the quest for 2. Very nice, very nicely on curve with Smee, being able to quest for 2 as well as Smee and have the evasive protection. It's actually kind of scary. And now, the Smee quest for 2, takes for 1 damage at the end of the turn. Flick on over to James's side. We have Mim Snake, and he plays out a Lumiere and a Rafiki again. So the Mim Snake now has 4 attack, swinging into the Smee, decides to trade, and I think that's completely fine. You need to get rid of Smee before he really starts becoming a problem. It's bad now still, because we still have a Tinkerbell in play that's evasive and won't be easily hittable. But at least James does have Rafiki out there. Rafiki has Challenger, the extra +1 from Lumiere. So if Michael plays any other quirky techie stuff that isn't evasive, at least James can knock it out of play. That's what we like to see. Inking Robin Hood, playing the Goat. Classic turn 4 play, +1 lore. Very, very nice. Quest for 2 with the Tinkerbell going up to 6. Very dominating start by Michael, but very easy dominant start with some very good aggro plays early on. It'd be interesting to see whether that's the entire tech of the deck or not. We did see a flash of his cards there. Very cheeky, Mike. I see what you're doing. Trying to please the camera people. But no, you will not win us this day. You can let us know by the end of these matches whether you do like Michael's deck or not. And the same with James's deck, of course. Let us know your favourite one down in the comments. James plays a second Lumiere, thus meaning now that both Lumieres buff up each other, making them +1 each, so they are turned into 3/2s. Rafiki by himself is a 2/2 without Challenger, which is pretty interesting. James deciding to quest with Lumiere, because he cannot swing into Tinkerbell because of the evasive, cannot swing into Goat by any means, because Goat just got played this turn. Interesting to put the Lumiere out there. If you wanted to put anyone out there, I would maybe say the Rafiki, but at the same time, I understand why you don't, because you want Challenger to proc off in order to get rid of any pesky targets. So let's see what Mike is thinking here. Very much more Amethyst than Steel at the moment, but we did see Smee, so I can't say much about that. And is he low on cards? He's only got 3 cards left in his hand. Shifts into Big Tink. Big Tink via the on play will then deal 1 damage to absolutely everybody. Gets rid of the Lumiere. And then that means he gets to deal an additional 2 damage to another target of his choice. So he basically, by attacking into 1 and playing on that turn, Michael is able to take out 2 targets at once. Very, very good. Very nasty. Very, very nasty. But at least, and if you want to think positive about this, at least you can hit Tinkerbell. The Steel Shift Tinkerbell does not have evasive, so that means that you can just dive in there and take it out if you so wish, which I would personally recommend. The Jim Hawkins RLS Legacy play. Classic, nice, easy, but is it going to be enough? Let's find out as we go over to Mike's turn after James's draw for turn. That is a pretty scary board, if I do say so myself. And even though James can get 2 with RLS Legacy, Mike is going to take it and knock it out of the sky for the perfect 8 damage. And then it's back. Move away from the Leslie games. It's Tragic Hero Beastie Boy. So Michael's hand size situation won't be much of a situation yet. He is down to 1 card, but at least Tragic Hero Beast will make it so the next turn he gets to both draw for turn and draw off a Tragic Hero, which is brilliant. That'll help that. White Rose played on James's side gets for +1 lore. Nice and easy, but that is a very scary board to deal with. 4 attack on the Goat, 4 attack on Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell does have 2 damage on her, so she's only a 4/3 at this moment in time. Lumiere's going to deal 2 into Tink, so Tink will not die, and I believe that is something we're thinking of here. James is just having a rethink, thinking, was that the best idea? And in my personal opinion, no, because Lumiere no longer has for +1 because the other Lumiere was knocked out, and I think James is just coming to the idea of that, and it's like, oh god, I don't know. And to think, you don't really want to swing in Jim Hawkins because he quests for 2, and yes, he's a 4/4, but at this moment in time, is Jim dead? I think Jim is a dead play anyway. Even if you quested for 2, there's no real point. I would actually consider sacking Jim into the Tinkerbell just to get Tinkerbell out of the way, because Tink's a threat at this moment in time. And then, sure, you have White Rose, but White Rose, with the power of Lumiere, can still do 1 damage, +1, sorry, turning it into a 4/3 against Tragic Hero. That's okay. That's perfectly okay. But there's Blue Fairy out on Michael's end of the board, meaning that if you play a Floodborn character, you draw an additional card, which is fantastic. Grab your sword, 2 damage onto absolutely everything, gets rid of Lumiere once and for all, 2 damage on White Rose and Jim Hawkins, decides to quest for 3, going up to 10. Doesn't want to quest for a Tragic Hero, and I think that's the best move. You want to leave your Tinkerbell out there as fodder. If it does get wiped, it's not a problem. You want to keep Tragic Hero up, because Tragic Hero is now your draw engine, assisting you with your draws every turn, and if you pull into a Floodborn that you can just play out, guess what? Now you have double the fun time, because you have the power of Blue Fairy out on that board. So James here has played the Elsa from set 1, where if you exert, it has the ability to exert a chosen opposing character. I think James did a little bit of a misplay there. It does not work like the 2-drop Pinocchio, which I do prefer over this Elsa. I find that Elsa just a little bit too slow. At least for my liking, a little bit too slow. Unless maybe you're doing a quirky Anna and Elsa deck, which is perfectly viable. I'd quite like to see a deck list for that. And yes, White Rose into Tinkerbell. Very good. I think you just needed to get rid of Tink. Because if you quest with anything, Tink will bash into it, deal 2 damage to something else. That means 2 for 1. Not very good. Not very nice. It's not a nice board in general for James, in fairness. And he is running a little bit behind, but he's not out of the woods yet, unless that is his last card in his hand, which I believe it is. He is running on top deck energy, ladies and gentlemen. The importance of card draw, or having an engine for card draw, is here. Jimmy Jim tackles into the Goat to get the Goat out of the way. It will give Michael +1 lore, but at least that's another character down. James has Elsa. Mike, his turn, draws for turn, draws off of Beast Tragic Hero, now has the Beast and the Blue Fairy out ready to go. And there's Pete. No actions allowed on James's side for that turn, which is a big hit. But then also plays the Goat to get the +1 lore, goes up to 12. And now we have an interesting conundrum. Is he going to quest? Yes, he is. Blue Fairy. Because Blue Fairy's evasive, so why not? There's nothing on the board currently that can just smack Blue Fairy out of the sky. And because James is running Ruby and Amethyst, that means he's not going to have dink damage like fire the cannons or anything along those lines. But there comes Brawl! I was about to say he does have card removal, and there you go. Brawl coming out, knocking out that. No! He wouldn't be able to do it! No, this is a huge misplay! Oh my god, huge misplay. James would not be allowed to play Brawl because of the effect of Pete. Pete shuts down all actions until the beginning of your next turn. There's another Pete, so that Brawl wouldn't have worked, which means the Blue Fairy would still be out, meaning that right now Michael could be questing for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lore instead of 4. Wow! Misplay caught on camera. Please learn for that in future, both of you, just to be on the safe side. But there you go. James has decided to concede. Didn't have the right stuff in his hand. Bricked with the Floodborn Rafiki, which is a bit of a sad time. But hey ho, it happens. Misplay happens. We're learning here, and it's all good. Win number 1 over to Michael. We'll roll on to game 2, and I'll see you there. We are here for game number 2. Mike is 1 up against James with Amethyst Steel versus James's Ruby Amethyst list. Starting off with the classic monkey play with the Challenger Rafiki, and I just don't think Challenger Rafiki is as good as I thought it was. Last set, absolutely. Great 1-drop for Amethyst, absolutely fine. But I personally find the Brooms and Chernobog followers for Amethyst being the better 1-drops, and now having Diablo, the Diablo that when it's banished you draw a card, I even think that Diablo is fantastic in comparison to Rafiki, in my opinion. Quest for 1 with Rafiki, play out the Mim Snake, classic play like last time. No 1-drop. No 1-drop on Michael's side. This could be a sign, and maybe a shred of hope for James. Let's cross fingers and hope. Inks for Tinkerbell, plays Blue Fairy. Scary to see on turn 2. Very scary to see on turn 2. Because now, if Michael has any Floodborns in his hand, he just has to wait until he has the appropriate amount of ink, instantly gets the card draw plus, and because Blue Fairy is evasive, she's just going to float up in the sky, not get hit by anything, and everything's fine. Plays out White Rose on James's side, gets for +1 lore, quest for another 1 with Mim Snake, perfectly viable. He's kicking off very, very nicely. Well done, Jay. Roll on back over to the mic. Inks the Chernobog follower, plays the Tink. Very good, very easy, and also very scary. Because now that Michael has a Tinkerbell out, you bet your bottom dollar that Steel Tink will probably be in Michael's hand, ready to shift. And as soon as that shift happens, it's going to be damage on the board. It's going to be a +1 card draw. Youch. That's going to be a devastating hit right there. Double play with the Daisy Duck and Lumiere. So now we have Mim Snake sitting as a 4-3. Same with the White Rose. None of them can hit into the Blue Fairy because Blue Fairy is evasive. However, having Daisy Duck is great because that Daisy Duck is evasive. You just need to wait until next turn. Too bad he doesn't have a Vitalis Sphere or something to give that Daisy Rush and bop that Blue Fairy out of the sky before that cheeky Shift Tink drops onto the board. Let's see what happens here. So James is actually doing okay. He's got quite a nice board presence going on, inking a P over on Michael's side as he's tempted as to what to do next. This is kind of an interesting board that he has to deal with this time. So it's a matter of what he thinks is the best port of call. Is he gonna? He's shifting. He's playing those shifty games. 1 damage on absolutely everybody. Did Mike get the card draw from Blue Fairy? I did not see it. He should get his +1 card draw from Blue Fairy as a result of the shift. And that basically happens at the same time as the damage, but you can dictate as the player in control when the damage hits. He's going to swing into Mim Snake. Willingly take 4 damage, which is big. Please tell me you put 4. Yes, you did. Thank you very much. But you are able to now deal 2 damage to something else. Decides to take out the Daisy Duck. Very good. So now that means the evasive is secure. Blue Fairy can quest. Everything's absolutely fine and dandy. Did not see you draw that card, Michael. I will, editing me, if Michael did draw a card, please pop up in that little comment bit and let me know if he did, because I generally did not see a card draw for Blue Fairy. There are more misplays happening, and I will criticise these plays. But obviously be aware of them, because like I said in the previous video, and previous videos in general, misplays happen, and you don't know when they happen sometimes, so it's good to analyse, oh, this effect triggered and you didn't declare it, so you completely missed out on either dealing more damage, or drawing a card, or maybe not fulfilling the requirements and you should have discarded. It happens. It absolutely happens. There's a goat over on James's side, +1 lore. Nice, easy, simple. Got a bit of a dilemma, but he's going to trade the rose for the tink. Very good move in my opinion. Very, very good move. I think James just needed to do it. Get rid of the tink threat nice and early this time around. Don't sit on it. Quest for 1 with Lumiere, which is a choice, but it is a perfectly viable choice when the only thing on Michael's board is a blue fairy. We are getting to grab your sword stage, however, and that's completely viable on Michael's side if he wants to do grab your sword. Might be a bit of a waste when there's only 2 characters out and one of them's already got 1 damage on it. Yep, he's just going to go for the Robin Hood. Is he going to shift? Is he going to shift the same turn as play out the Robin Hood? No, he's going instead for the new 4-cost uninkable Genie. You play it, you draw a card, similar to Merlin Rabbit, but it doesn't get the same effect when it bounces away, only when it's on play. Perfectly great card. Quest for 2, evasive again, which makes it very, very scary. And now that Michael has Robin Hood out on the board with Blue Fairy, that's another shift target, another Floodborn, another +1, and that shift Robin Hood is going to be able to tackle into James's stuff and be able to get 2 lore as a result. There's Jim Hawkins. Do we have a location? No. Oh no. Oh no, James. Oh no, Jim Hawkins with no location to play with him. Youch. Evasive Blue Fairy. You're not going to be able to hit it, Jay. You're not going to be able to do it. But questing with Goat, absolutely fine. Why not do it? Get the +1. Don't do it with Lumiere. Keep Lumiere alive. Make it so that the Goat is a 5/3 ready to bop into absolutely anything. And here we go. Is Michael going to do the play I'm thinking he is? Is it time for Shift Robin Hood? Or does he have other cunning plans at his disposal? That's a lot more cards in his hand than last time. He's doing much better on his hand management this time round. Very interesting to see what happens here. Thinking about it, it's a very, very tough plan actually, because James does have high attack on the board, a 5/4 Jim Hawkins, a 5/3 Merlin Goat, and that is friends on the other side being sang by Genie. I think that's completely fine. If you don't have anything in your hand, if you think you can dish out, might as well swing, get the two cards, see what you want to ink. Inks a bell. Very nice. I love that card personally. I think it's a really nice quirky splash tech card, and great if you are going to create shift targets. That is another friends on the other side played raw. Must be desperate in order to find that shift Robin Hood, unless he's just trying to find an answer. Second Robin Hood on board. There is no shift, only Zool. Shout out to anyone that's a Ghostbusters fan. But Fire the Cannons will knock out Lumiere. That now makes it so that the Goat is back to being a 4/3, Jim back to being a 4/4. And Robin Hood and Blue Fairy are both going to quest going up to 5 for Mike. I would love to see what's in Michael's hand right now, because this is so interesting. 2 different iterations of friends on the other side, 1 for 3 and 1 for 3 cost. And no, this was your best answer. I think it was very good anyway to get rid of Lumiere. There's RLS Legacy. James is then going to pay the extra to move Jim into RLS. That will then give him evasive and make it so it's now too cheaper for anyone else to move in, and moves in the Goat. Now the Goat is also evasive. James, will you use Goat to get rid of Blue Fairy? Ooh, this is very interesting. Or get rid of Genie. Genie and Blue Fairy are both viable threats to get rid of. I think you should tackle into both. He's not. James, what are you doing? Oh my god, I'm going to be ripping my hair out. My dude, are you okay? Of course he is, absolutely fine. I understand where James is coming from, but I think he should have swang. In my personal opinion, he should have swang into Genie with Goat and should have swang into Blue Fairy with Jim Hawkins. Low damage, big evasive strikes into 2 scary cards, which are going to guarantee Michael gets 3 lore every turn if you don't get rid of them now. And because your guys are evasive, even if Michael does play out the Shift Robin Hood, along came Zeus! 5 damage onto RLS Legacy. Are we going to see more? That is a raw play of Along Came Zeus just to deal 5. And now, that's the rest done by Blue Fairy and a Robin Hood. Oof. Oh, wow. Oh, big wow. I don't see why James didn't take advantage of RLS. He could have stopped that from happening. Don't get me wrong. Michael still had 2 2/2s out on the board, but having 2 2/2s that can still be knocked out pretty hard after RLS Legacy gets rid of, if James got rid of the Genie and the Blue Fairy before, it's still good, because then that means James can clear the board and be in control, and I like it. Something to consider for next time, Jay. Use your RLS evasive to the fullest. Plays out Yzma. Really love this Yzma. Pick a character, shuffle it back into the deck, and then when you do, you then draw 2 cards. It's very handy if you need to shuffle any of your stuff back in case you need 2 cards or it's damaged or anything along those lines. But it's also incredibly handy if your opponent has something scary on the board. You don't like it when they have something scary on the board, and you're like, you know what, I can give you 2 cards, I just don't like this scary Mother Hubbard in front of me right now. Quite like the Yzma, quest for 2 as well, nice stat block on it, very very nice. Decides to swing into the Robin Hoods with the Goat and the Jim, very very good. Just keep control of the board, get those threats out there, you take 2 damage on each, and if the Goat goes, it's not a problem. If Jim goes, it's not necessarily a problem. Yes, you miss out on 2 lore every turn when he's unable to quest, but you know what, his effects are on play. What can he do? What can you do? Back to Michael's turn. This is such an interesting game in comparison to the first one. The first one just went by lickety-split. This has drama. I live for dramatic games. This has me. I'm tense. My butt is clenched, ladies and gentlemen. The sphincter is... No, I'm not going to go any further than that. I think that's a bit too much. Blue Fairy. Tink. Plays it raw. Get the 1 card. Mike, are you drawing cards? Draw your freaking cards. Gets the +1 lore off of Go, 1 damage onto Jimmy Jim, 1 damage onto Yzma. Blue Fairy will quest. Where's your card? Please, editing me, tell me again if Michael did actually draw the card or not. I'm losing my mind. I'm only losing my mind because I played Blue Fairy and I had to be taught adamantly to not forget the draw card moment. Yeah. Oh, second Yzma. Bye-bye Tink. Into the deck. Shuffle it through. Draw 2 cards. There you go. Quest for 2 with Yzma. Very nice. I like this bit of control. And as long as James can control the board, doesn't matter if he gives Michael a couple of extra cards. If he's able to control the board, keep questing enough, he's able to make the money. And I like it. Doesn't quest with Jim, and I wonder why. At this moment in time, if Jim dies, Jim dies. I say just quest for 2. I say just screw it, especially if he's on 3 health. If you can't bounce him back, just quest for 2. And just take the 2 while you can, and just aggro at this point. And make Michael chase you. That's my goal. That's my, aspiration for James's deck right now in RAmethyst. Back to Michael's turn, though. He inks a Floodborn Aladdin. I actually quite like that one. Very handy in my... Flood Force deck that I made for last set. That's a raw. Grab your sword. 2 damage on absolutely everybody. The Jim is gone. The Yzmas, sorry, there's more than 1, will take 2 each, 1 on 3, 1 on 2. Blue Fairy, gonna quest for 1. Tinkerbell comes on out. Grab your sword can go into the discard, Michael. Thank you very much. Sorry, my inner OCD is like, go please. Clean your board. Bloody hell, am I a commentator or a maid at this point in time? Don't make fun of me in the comments, I swear. Anyway, James, his side of the board, is going to quest for 4 with double Yzma. Plays out another Jimmy Jim with no locations in hand because he doesn't have the card draw. James, where's your card draw? Where are your friends on the other side? Where are your Chernobog followers and Illuminary keepers? Where are your Queen's Castles? Where are your libraries? Where is anything right now for you to draw a card? I want you to draw cards. The Michael side of the board, this could be comeback territory for Michael. Tinkerbell, flying free, being evasive, able to quest for 2. Blue Fairy, big shift into Big Tink. 1 damage onto everything. 1 Yzma dies. 1 Yzma goes to 3 damage and the Jim goes to 1. Here we go. Is he going to swing into the Yzma, which won't be a trade because you do survive, or will he quest? He's gonna go for the Yzma. There you go, he's gonna do it. Takes for 4 damage, the extra 2 damage goes onto Jimmy Jim, so Jim will be easy to pop off for next turn for Michael. Unless he has something he can do. He's only just inking for this turn. There's Smee. Oh, he remembered! Mistimed, but at least you remembered to draw your card, Michael. I saw it. And then there comes Belle. On play, you can move up to 3 damage from one of your characters onto an opposing. You might as well move all 3 of Tinks onto Jim Hawkins, and Jimmy Jim will be gone. Tinkerbell goes down to only 1 damage, and now the control is back in Michael's hands. How quick this came back. Wow. Well done over to Mike. You've misplayed on Blue Fairy so many times up until this point, but I'm happy you finally got the card draw. James with Agrabah, I think it's all over. I think it's just done. Agrabah will fall. Big Fairy Tink! You cannot make this up! The brand new Big Fairy Tinkerbell with evasive, and whenever that character quests, your other fairy characters get +1 lore this turn, meaning that the other Tinkerbells will be able to quest for 3, which is pretty darn mad. Now it's a matter of is Michael going to be a good guy or is he going to be a bad guy? He's going to be good. Fair play. He's going to quest for 5, go all the way up to 16. He basically has game next turn. With or without that big fairy, there's Jimmy Jim, and it's too late. It's clearly too late for James. The game is over. Mike is able to take this game swashbuckling easy. There's the handshake we've been waiting for, because sportsmanship is important. He had an extra Tink and friends on the other side in hand. How devastating. What a comeback by Michael. What a session of games. I hope you guys have enjoyed this trio of games featuring James. The James games, as I like to call them. If you enjoyed these games with James and with Mike, let me know down in the comments below and let us know who your favourite deck was. I'll be seeing you guys for more games in the future. I'll be doing a new session soon. It's season 2, baby. It's Azure Sea. I'm looking forward to some more games, and I hope you guys are too. See you next time for some more Lorcana action. Until then, hit me up in the description below if you want to follow me for any of my other bits on all of my other social platforms on the Discord server. And on top of all that, don't forget to subscribe for the most important thing. Ring that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future Lorcana episodes or any other quirky things that comes from the channel in the future. And most importantly, support your locals. Go and play Lorcana wherever you can locally and have some fun. Stay safe, stay awesome. Most importantly, stay explosive. I'll be seeing you guys next time. Had to be so serious. See you later, folks.